Last question, JS and it's at SmithJ47 on Twitter. Why do you genuinely think you deserve to be able to just jump into the top rankings and fight the best? You gave that up when you called retirement. No disrespect, but go grind your way back up if you think you got what it takes still. I think half these new guys would run you up.
That's cute. That's really nice of you. What's his name?
JS. It is at SmithJ47 on Twitter.
J Smith, you damn dirtbag. What's up, guys? Welcome to Ask C Anything, where you fans are getting a chance to interact with yours truly, King Triple C. So you guys, please stay tuned. Ask away. You guys can ask me anything.
First up, we got Jack Edidin. He is at Jedi71192 on Twitter. He asks, what are your thoughts on the recent Diaz Chimaev booking? Hashtag AskCAnything.
Wow, I think the UFC. I mean, I just that's a tough one for Nate. But at the same time, the dog is the dog, man. I think in a 5-round fight. But I just think it's like, the UFC, Nate doesn't want to fight McGregor. They're going to give him the toughest and the biggest dog that they have there, and that happens to be Khamzat Chimaev. So, but if he can come up with a good game plan, I think his chances of winning are not as slim as what people are thinking, just because of the experience. But I think the UFC is pretty much trying to get rid of him and not and ruin his brand pretty much.
Next question, we got Bruised and Battered at DumbDumber26 on Twitter. He asks, yo, I saw your clip at the time when you were shifting gears from wrestling and Olympics to MMA. You were living and working out in the gym. During those nights, did you ever think you would be 2C in UFC and blow up? Like, what was going in your head at that time?
No, of course, man. Well, like, you guys have to understand too, like the imagination that you have, you can manifest it, but you had to put a good game plan together and always understand what you had to sacrifice. What is it that sacrificing time, friends, family, foods and things of that nature. So of course I did. I did it before in wrestling. I know the power of the mind, the actions that I have taken, and started from the bottom. Now we here.
Jacob Mills at 3Sketch Jacob on Twitter. Thinking about every aspect of being an MMA world champion, what is the most difficult? Mental challenge, physical sacrifice, time away from family, business strategy, dealing with fame, uncontrollable circumstances, promotional politics, crazy fans? Is it something else?
It's all of the above, because it really goes back down to time. Where is it that you spend your time is where you show your love. But you, at the same time, you do want to be successful too. You do want to manifest and bring all those accolades home, from the time that you have spent outside. So I think that's just I think the hardest thing for anybody is really time. But it's not necessarily a sacrifice. It's an investment. For certain things you do have to sacrifice, but for the majority, when you're really in love with what you're doing and you're on a mission, everything's an investment. And when you invest with a little bit of sacrifice, I think that's where it takes the gear to a whole nother level. So there's times where you do have to sacrifice, but the way you have fun and the way you really grow in the sport of mixed martial arts or in sports in general is when you invest.
This is Nick C33 at C33Nick on Twitter. Hashtag AskCAnything. How intense and awkward was it to train with arguably your greatest opponent, rival DJ? Side note, respect you both for putting growth as martial artists above any personal rivalry.
Man, I tell you what, man, working with Demetrious Johnson, and we both have two completely different styles. This time around it was more for Demetrious Johnson because he's got a fight coming up. But a lot of the things that he did tell and kind of share with me, like the concept of how he fights and why he does what he does, it put things into perspective for me. So I think for me, training with DJ was like, dude, we're both 1-1, or Juan and Juan if you're Mexican, and it's just cool to get a whole nother insight from a mind that you respect. I respect a lot of people, but with Demetrious Johnson, I really respect what he has to say because he's been there and done that. He's put me out before. So I think Iron really does sharp iron. I think we're those two athletes that we have no ego. Like, this is what I think. This is what he thinks. At the end of the day, like, if he believes in what he believes in, then I'm with him. Same thing for me. If I believe what I believe in, then I expect him to kind of be with me as a training partner, as a friend, because we're two different guys. But we always need to add things to each other in order for us to become and get better.
Next, Rafael Ortiz at Rafael on Twitter. Can Conor McGregor come back to being a serious contender for a title, or just one big name fights? Hashtag ask C anything.
I think at this point, I like the Patty the Batty fight for him. I think he needs to really take like a tune up, like beat somebody up, beat somebody with the name, or at this point, Conor can fight anybody and make him into a name. But I wouldn't go high level no more because that's already, and they might if it was for the money. For Conor, he'd do it, but I think, I mean, for the UFC, but I think at this point, Conor can sell anybody. Just Conor alone fighting is a big deal. I mean, he'll at least make 1 million buys if he fights a scrub or whomever. But time will tell, man. I don't know Conor, but I know the 155-pound weight division is stacked and loaded with killers from the top 10. So I think for Conor's thinking about going straight to the champ, or go to the bottom of the barrel. But there's nothing in between that. I don't think that he should take a fight. I think if there's any fight that may be a good fight for him, just based on this, is I'd probably say Michael Chandler. I like that fight too.
Billy Boxer on Twitter. Hashtag ask C anything. If you had to pick one boxer to fight right now in a 12-round pro boxing match, who would you choose?
Probably the Princess, Ryan Garcia. I think he's a big name. He can sell. He's got 500,000,000. I mean, he's got 1 billion followers and on TikTok. The TikToker, I would love to smother and beat him up and make a whole lot of money.
It's time at UFC_ here on Twitter. Henry, first of all, big fan. And my question is, what do you think of Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira getting booked at UFC 280 Abu Dhabi? Who will win this fight? Hashtag ask C anything.
Man, oh God, dude, that fight is a clash of two styles. It's a guy with a great base, and then a guy with a lot of experience, and a guy that could strike, submit, defend, that could take people down in Charles the Bronx. So this is going to come down to who is it that's going to commit to their game plan is more likely the winner of this fight. And I consider them both friends. I like Charles the Bronx, and I probably see Islam more than I do Charles, but this fight it comes down to game plan and who can have a great training camp, and who can isolate that game plan when the actual time comes. Because Charles is going to be comfortable going on bottom, but is he prepared for the ground and pound and the different work that Islam brings to the table? I mean, that's the unknown. So that's my answer.
Rob Slay at Schlapper on Twitter. Hashtag ask C anything. How do you see a Sean O'Malley Petr Yan fight playing out?
Man, I think the most winnable fight for Sean is Petr Yan. I can understand why he went that route, because Petr Yan he's been taken down by Sandhagen, by Aljamain Sterling. Like he's been taken down by these people, but I think the dog and Petr Yan, the experience, the fact that he can keep it on his feet and bring that war to Sean. I think I see Petr Yan stopping him in the third, because that's when Petr starts to really peak as the fights continues to keep getting longer, and Petr tends to do a good job, man, of actually getting better. So I'm going cheater Yan.
Marshek 311. Do you regret early retirement?
No, not at all, man. I've had a chance to first of all let my body heal, heal myself, physically, mentally. Like when you're not in love with something, man, like take a step back, learn. You know what I mean? Like answer the whys. For me, it's always I'm a conqueror. I've done everything I set out to do. Become an Olympic champ, two-division UFC champ. I literally have done everything. Like what's next? And to me, it was business. So now I'm in real estate. I had a baby, whom I love very much. She's 8 months. I'm gonna get a chance to kind of see those early stages. The fact that I'm spending time with my baby girl and obviously my wife, it's precious to me. It really is. It's too precious.
ZT at Twisted Steel 123 on Twitter. What was your mindset switch between 2007 to 2008, which allowed you to win Olympic gold? What about between the two fights with DJ? Hashtag Ask C anything.
Well, same thing. Same thing. In 2008 and 2007, I go back there. Made my first world team. I was still a teenager. I think I was 19 or 20. And I remember making the world team, which is huge. Which is nobody makes the world team that young. And there's only 7 guys that get elected to go to the world championships. Across the world. And I went out there. I had the best training camp, physically, mentally, just ready. And I remember going out there and not even scoring a point at the Olympic Games. At the World Championships. Got attacked by the Iranian, and throughout that whole year, I was going through losses, bumps. Just losing the whole damn year. I couldn't win a tournament to save my life. But I still kept my eye on the prize, and I continued to keep making adjustments until the only 2 tournaments that really mattered was the Olympic trials and the Olympic Games. And by the time the Olympic trials came, I ended up winning that. And by the time the Olympics came, I was down 3 out of my 4 matches and ended up winning gold. I was the biggest underdog in probably the whole Olympics. I was ranked 31st in the world. So what happened, the experience that I had in wrestling, I brought it over to the sport of mixed martial arts. From not scoring a point in wrestling at the World Championships to become an Olympic champion. It was the same thing with Demetrious Johnson. From not even lasting a whole round, barely lasting half a round against Demetrious Johnson and being stopped to the body, to eventually coming back, 2.5 years later. And getting that win back. So I think my biggest thing is obviously my mindset, my honesty, my preparation. Success is very complex. When you understand the complexity of what success is, it'll change you, man. Because it's not just one thing. It's not just hard work. It's complexity, and you have to understand the puzzles of it. How that you can connect it. Connect the dots, and when you connect and you have the right team, man, you can accomplish anything. You know what I mean? You can accomplish anything that's not that you're not far reaching, but just do just enough where, man, you can be a history maker. So that's my 2 cents.
Last 2 questions. Aria, it's at Aria_Dorji on Twitter. Hashtag Ask C anything. Huge fan of you as an athlete. Was gutted to see you retire after an incredible performance. My question is, what's your biggest weapon against Alex? Peace and love from India.
Alex, who?
Volkanovski.
My biggest advice for Alex Volkanovski?
Your biggest weapon.
My biggest weapon is my experience. My experience that I have, my game planning that I have, the tactics that I use. The honesty that I have. It all goes back to success of why I accomplished what I've accomplished. But there's things that I really can't share necessarily, but, my wrestling is definitely one of them. And I think, the pink elephant is in the room. But I think more importantly, my willpower and my experience that I have. And it's the same reason why I believe that I could beat him.
Last question. JS and at SmithJ47 on Twitter. Why do you genuinely think you deserve to be able to just jump into the top rankings and fight the best? You gave that up when you called retirement. No disrespect, but go grind your way back up if you think you got what it takes still. I think half these new guys would run you up.
That's cute. That's really nice of you. What's his name?
JS. It is at SmithJ47 on Twitter.
J Smith, you damn dirtbag. Because you know why? Because I've done so much in combat sports. Think of somebody that has a better resume than me in combat sports. Allow me to remind you, the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world defended both of my belts. But let me guess. But it's okay for GSP to go in there and get a title shot right away. But let me guess. It's okay for Conor McTapper to go in there and get a title shot. But you're cool with that. I beat all these scrubs. I beat the greatest of all time in Demetrious Johnson. I beat a lot of these guys that people thought it was, that nobody gave me a chance. So again, it's what I've done in combat sports, and yeah, I do deserve it. I am entitled for that, and I do deserve that, of course, because I'm proven. I'm the third. I'm only the third double champ in UFC history. You wouldn't want to see a triple champ. You wouldn't want to see somebody do history and win a third belt. You see what I'm saying? I've done it. I've been there. I've done that in combat sports. So yeah, I do want a free pass, and I do deserve a free pass, and I'm gonna get that free pass. Well, that's it, guys. You guys, thank you guys for watching Ask See Anything, where you fans are gonna get a chance to interact. I hope you guys liked our interaction. You get the genuine Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C, aka the King of Cringe. You guys make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm out!